What does justice look like to you?
Well, everything is beautiful and rebuilt and restored, and we just think it's just time now that we have justice on all of that, where we can live all our life, that type of life over again as a grown-up.
For 109-year-old Viola Fletcher and the two other known survivors of the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre, the wait for that justice will drag on. That's because an Oklahoma judge threw out their years-long legal efforts seeking reparations and rebuilding to address the historical damage done 102 years ago by the race massacre that destroyed Black Wall Street. Judge Caroline Wall sided with the state and city of Tulsa, who argued, in part, that being connected to a historical event doesn't give a person unlimited rights to seek compensation. And joining me now is Demario Solomon Simmons, civil rights attorney and founder of Justice for Greenwood. Demario, it is great to see you. I have to say, the argument that people have normally made against reparations is, well, the victims of enslavement or some other wrong are long dead. We can't compensate people who are alive because the victims are dead. But now you have a case where the victims are alive. There are three people who are alive, and they're still saying we still can't have reparations. Make that make sense, because it seems like a heads you lose, tails I win.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a moving of the goalpost when it comes to Black people and our racial justice claims. And you're right, Joy. 109 years old. Mother Fletcher was 7 years old at the time. Mother Randall, 108, she was 6 years old at the time. They saw, they felt, they heard, and they witnessed and experienced the race massacre. They're still here. And that's the thing that this case is so important nationally, because we have the photos, we have the video, we have the hundreds of insurance claims. We have living people who are saying this happened to me, and no one is disputing that this happened to them. Yet the city of Tulsa, the county, the chamber, and the state are saying, we don't care that this happened to you. We're not going to do anything for you, your families, or the community.
Let me play what you said last time that you were here on the show about the defendants in this case.
We know that the defendants, their strategy was to have these beautiful individuals, they want them to die, point blank. They was hoping that during this delay that they wouldn't be here any further longer. But they both told me they're going to be here for the long haul.
And I mean, that's what it sounds like. It sounds like they want to go back to the original argument, saying there are no living victims.
Absolutely. And that's why Justice for Greenwood, our organization that's fighting on behalf of these survivors and descendants, that's why we've had a holistic plan, because we know that the city and the state, they just want these people to be dead so then they can continue to utilize the massacre to raise more money for themselves. Joy, as you know, the city used the massacre and everything to raise over $30 million for their own benefit to create a tourism attraction. Yet they don't want to give one penny, one dime to any of the survivors or the descendants. And that's why this decision to dismiss us is so hurtful. It is so unbelievable, because as you know, Joy, last year the same judge said we can move forward. But it's not over. We're going to appeal this case to the Oklahoma Supreme Court. We know that's a conservative venue, but the law is so clear here. If they would just do the rule of law, and again, we know how that is when it comes to Black people, but if they just follow the law, we will actually be successful to get back into court. In the meanwhile, we're calling on the federal government, President Joe Biden, our dear sister Kristen Clark at the Department of Justice, to come in and open a criminal investigation that's never happened in Greenwood. They can do this today. Right now, today, they have the authority to do that, and we're asking them to do it.
Because we know U.S. military planes were used as well. Jonathan, who produced this segment, he went looking for the ruling by Judge Caroline Wall, and at first thought he didn't find it because he just found this 3-sentence, upon hearing the arguments of counsel, this case is dismissed with prejudice. That's the ruling. She didn't even explain her ruling. She just wrote 3 quick lines and get out of my courtroom. To me, that seems like an insult, particularly, as you said, since the city of Tulsa has used these people and their tragedy to earn money off of them.
It is an insult. And Joy, when I found out about this by a reporter calling me late Friday evening, and it was a gut punch. And then I felt so bad for myself, but then feeling bad to have to call my clients and tell them what happened. And when they asked me, well, what's the reasoning? And I have to tell them, I don't know. The judge didn't even give us the decency to explain it to us in a written order, and outside of just putting this in on Friday night. So it's something that is just should not have happened. The standard that we were having, the bar was so low on a motion to dismiss in this type of situation. And for us not to have any type of a reasoning, it leaves you, the only thing you can think of is this is another chapter in a 102-year book where they continue to say no. They continue to find ways to say no, regardless of when you bring the claim, how you bring the claim, or who brings the claim. But that's why we're going to still continue to fight. We're going to appeal this case. We're going to look at other avenues to get these people justice and the entire Black community from Greenwood, because this is a case that impacts all of Black America's racial justice claims. As you stated, Joy, we have living survivors, we have video, we have pictures, we have millions of dollars in insurance claims, and they're still going to say no. This cannot stand in America. And I ask everyone that believes in truth, justice, and reparations for these survivors and Black folks to join with us at Justice for Greenwood, justiceforgreenwood.org. Get with us, stand with us, and let these three survivors know that they have a nation of people that's not just praying for them, but is actively in the fight for justice for them.
Absolutely. And, please pass along to Uncle Red and to Mother Fletcher and to the other wonderful survivor. We will stay on this case, Demario Solomon Simmons. We're going to invite you back whenever there are any elements or any developments in your lawsuit, your ongoing action to try to get justice for these people. $30 million. They pimped their tragedy for money. And I think that Tulsa needs to step up and do the right thing.
Okay, so welcome back to the channel. I hope you stay, comment, like, subscribe. But I wanted to talk about this because this is something that I have been watching on the sidelines. I honestly do not understand how anyone could ever look at this case and not grant in the favor of the victims. They are over 100 years old. They were children when this massacre happened. It was a massacre. They burned, they pillaged, and they killed. They have been making this argument that because the people who were enslaved have passed away, that they shouldn't get reparations, even though the descendants of the Holocaust still do from Germany. When we still give money to Israel, and they are saying that we don't deserve anything. Now, there is no argument to say that Black people do not deserve anything. The descendants who are living through what happened to the kidnapping and the inhumane treatment of their people, the economic loss, all of it, they don't have a leg to stand on. And this made me sad. I cry for the victims. And in 100 years, in a century, they still, do you know how many generations have passed in a century and they still cannot get justice from anybody in 100 years? The U.S. they used the planes to drop the bombs on Rosewood. Rosewood was a segregated, wealthy community of Black people who were living their life. And there was a whole lie, and I 100% believe it's a goddamn lie, no different than all of the other lies that have been told. No different than the bitch, who said Emmett Till did things to her, put his hands on her, and just lied in court just to keep from getting her ass beat by her husband. The lies, because she admitted it. Now, they do want them to die. They don't want them to be alive. They don't want them to get anything. This is how they feel about us. And then you have rocket raccoons who sit up here and say asinine things for clicks and views. They're willing to sell, no different than the people who sold us. They are willing to sell us again for crumbs. Not millions, not something tangible. No, for crumbs, for somebody to like them, for somebody to lift them up. Saying that Black people don't deserve reparations and shouldn't get it. To sit up here and say that these people don't have a case, they were children, they were terrorized, they went through this. I'm sure they thought they were going to die. Something like that lives with you forever. They still can't get justice. There's evidence of what happened. We all know what happened. I don't care how they bury it. I don't care if you are a colorless person and you never heard about it. I don't give a damn. I knew about it. A lot of the people that I know about it because it's a part of our history. And they basically did not give a reason. They couldn't go into the law books to say this is why we're not going to give you justice because of this reason. She dismissed it with prejudice. Basically, she gave them the middle finger and told them, I'm white and I said so. And I'm not going to give your black ass anything. Yes, we made money off of it. Yes, people came to see the area. Yes, we made $30 million. We're not going to give you a portion of that. F you. And you know what? That's okay. Regardless of how egregious and disgusting and demonic and how evil and wicked that shit is, it's okay. It's okay. Because, I try and look for the silver lining in things. And you see how people have been pushing back. The reparation talk has been long overdue. It should have been done by now. And the crazy part is, if it had been done, they would have had the money back. But because they're doing what they're doing, they are creating this energy among Black people. And it's an energy where we are so over and tired of them. You may have your little rocket raccoons chattering away for you. It's not enough for us to understand that you don't give a damn, you don't care, and you're not going to do anything. So therefore, when these consequences come, I wouldn't give a damn. What's going to befall you is going to befall you. I already sat up here and said these people are not the final authority. That's why they're so aggressive with it. It's going to happen. They have no power to stop it, regardless of what they say. So you can't get reparations because the people have died. They're not the children of the slaves, even though we're the descendants. So we are the children. You can't get it when you're alive and you had something done to you because of your race. Because you never committed a crime or did anything to those people. They committed a crime against you and committed murder and massacred and genocide. You're alive. You have the evidence. And they give you the middle finger and say, we're not going to give you anything. I know people would take that and feel hopeless with it, but I see it in a total different way. I see that this nation and these people at 80%, they say, we're not going to give you anything. We're not going to advocate to do the right thing. We're not going to restore you. We're not going to do it. We have the choice to go ahead and make things right. We have the information. We have the evidence. We can see what's going on economically with you. We know what's wrong and what's causing it, and we're okay with it. We're okay with your suffering. We're okay with your economic lack. We're okay with the state that you're in within this country, that your family members were enslaved. We are okay with wealth being taken from you. We took it. We don't feel sorry for it. We celebrate the 4th of July. We celebrate it. We look at it as a good thing. We stand Confederate. We stand in agreement with our ancestors. Am I talking about everyone? No, there's been plenty of people who have renounced this. And like I said, there is a 20% that would. But that's a small group to the 80% that won't. They are digging their heels in the sand, and they are standing on this hill. They are willing to die on this hill, and they are going to more than die on that hill. It's going to cost them way more than what it would if they had done the right thing. This ruling sent chills through me, not because of what they did and how they disrespected the victims and the legacy and the memory of the people. No. Because I feel like this is one of those pivotal moments in history where there is going to be a horrific outcome because of this choice that has been made. Because the words that have been spoken, because the energy that you've put out there in the world about this, basically F Black people and their poverty and their circumstance and our hand in what we did, we will not repent. Since this is a Christian nation, we will not repent for our sins. We will not restore. We will not live up to the God we created and what Jesus stand for. We will not do the right thing. And it makes me shudder to think about the consequences of it. To think about what's to come out of that. What's going to happen because a nation that has had 400 plus years in a city that has had over 100 years to do the right thing. There's no wiggle room to get out of the fact that they are Confederate against a people that did them no wrong, that did nothing to them, that they feel like they can exploit. They feel like they have the right to do what they did. And what they did was justified, ordained, and blessed to do. They are that deep in. But they made a declaration, and I want them to stand on it when it blows up in their face, because there is a price to pay for this. A lot of people have been disillusioned. They say these people are never going to stop, and they're going to continue, and their children's children are going to continue. I don't see it that way, because these rulings, the fact that they said what they are not going to do, and the percentage of people who are saying it in one voice, to the tune of 80% of them in one voice are saying this, is absolutely terrifying to what's going to come from this, because it's not going to be good. There, like I said, again, there is a price to pay. And it sends shivers through me of what that price is going to be. But I'll go ahead and leave it right here. Let me know what you think about this situation and this ruling. This judge, do you think that they could win an appeal? What do you think about the judge's ruling? The blatant, dismissed with prejudice. Don't bring this up again. Don't bring this into the courts again. This is our final answer. This is what we stand on. They find themselves not guilty. Yeah, I'll see you in the next one.